Good morning. This is the weather hazard briefing for Friday, January 17th. Thanks for joining us this morning. We'll go ahead and take a look at what we're expecting here across the region for the next few days. If you've been watching, you know we kind of have two things really to talk about. One will be the system that's moving through today and continuing into the early part of the day tomorrow. And then the second thing is the cold temperatures that will move into the region behind this system. And it will stay cold for much of next week, but it will be dry. Looking at the satellite from across the Pacific Northwest this morning, you can see a well-defined frontal boundary feature across the central and northern portions of the state, with that cloud cover sinking south as the morning progresses. And that's really what we're expecting to continue throughout the day as that front moves into the region, and it will bring snow chances to a good portion of the area, although accumulations will be light. As far as our weather risk outlook is concerned, you can see those snow chances for the generally the eastern and central portions of the forecast area today, with some of that light snow lingering into the very early morning hours tomorrow, and then it will be dry behind this system, but cold for much of the weekend, especially in that Sunday, Monday, and early Tuesday timeframe. So taking a look at temperatures for folks waking up this morning, generally lower teens to lower 20s for a good portion of the area this morning. High temperatures today with increased cloud cover, and those precipitation chances will stay below freezing just about everywhere, the lone exception being maybe across parts of the South Hills and into the Magic Valley. But even there, still only a couple of degrees above the freezing mark, so certainly on the colder side compared to, say, 24 hours ago during the day on Thursday. As far as this system is concerned, moving through the region today and tonight, light snowfall is still expected. Primarily, the models have kind of keyed in on the eastern and southeastern highlands, and then the lower portions of the Snake Plain for most of the snow at this event. We'll probably see some very, very light snow just about everywhere for the most part, but any accumulations of significance will be generally in this area here shown on the map. And the higher resolution models have keyed in generally in an area somewhere across the South Hills and into the lower Snake Plain around the Pocatello area for a convergence-like band maybe later tonight and into the very early morning hours on Saturday. If this transpires with the colder temperatures moving in later tonight and into the early part Saturday, those snow ratios will really start to climb with a 15 to perhaps 20 to 1 snowfall ratio. So we can get some pretty decent accumulations when we get snow ratios like that with not a lot of actual liquid precipitation, which is basically what we're expecting with this feature. So we don't have a ton of confidence as to exactly where that will set up, but probably somewhere in that, again, somewhere in between, say, the eastern part of the Magic Valley and in parts of the lower Snake Plain. But at this point, really, it's just kind of a wait-and-see approach as to where exactly that sets up. So if it sets up a little farther east, and maybe we could overperform these 1 to 2 inch totals around the Pocatello area. But if it goes farther west, then maybe we might be closer to an inch in that area. So it really just kind of depends. We'll just have to see how things play out over the course of the day today. As far as basically a tenth of an inch of snowfall, so just a very light dusting, you can see just about everybody has at least a 50% chance with those totals much higher and closer to about 100% across the eastern and southeastern highlands and into the southern Snake Plain. But as we go up to 2 inches, you can see those probabilities drop quite quickly. So not expecting this to be a high impact event across the region, but we will have the potential for at least some 1 to 2, maybe 3 inches in the highest performing locations with this particular event. And then behind the system, again, as I've said, much colder air will filter in. So as you wake up tomorrow morning, You can see temperatures are 10 to perhaps 20 degrees colder than they are this morning, depending on your location, with those coldest temperatures across the upper Snake into the central mountains and up towards the Continental Divide, where some spots will drop below zero as you head up towards the Yellowstone area and certainly into the Stanley Basin. But those temperatures will get even colder as we get into the day on Sunday, and certainly by Monday morning. So you can see here, Sunday, our high temperatures, generally teens, lower 20s across the region, so certainly quite cold, some of the coldest air we've seen so far this year. And Monday morning appears to be the coldest morning, with a good chunk of the area everywhere below zero on Monday morning. There will be a little bit of wind, not much, but enough to get some of those wind chill values dangerously cold into that minus 20 to perhaps minus 30 degree range as you wake up on Monday morning. Kind of mentioned it the last couple of days, there probably will be a need for some of our newer extreme cold weather headlines at some point later this weekend. We'll likely have to issue those to highlight the risk for these extreme cold temperatures. And Monday afternoon, again, will remain quite cold with generally teens, maybe a few spots getting into the lower 20s. And then once again, Monday night into Tuesday morning will be cold once again, with a good portion of the eastern half of the region below zero. And again, for Tuesday morning, we will have some wind chills in that minus 20 to minus 25 range. Doesn't look quite as chilly as what we'll wake up to on Monday morning, but still obviously quite cold. So perhaps some additional extreme cold headlines needed for Tuesday morning. And then as we get into the remainder of the work week ahead, things will slowly warm up a few degrees, say, each day, and then we might return closer to normal temperatures by perhaps next weekend. But still expecting things to be running on the cool side here for quite some time before things perhaps could warm up as we get into next week. But we'll see. Things can obviously change quite quickly this time of year. So that's generally what we're expecting here over the days ahead. So again, we do have that system coming in today with much colder air in its wake for the weekend and into the early part of next week. So thanks for joining us this morning. Hope you have a great Friday.